I just overcame an injury 2 weeks ago, and here I am dealing with it again just a couple days ago over the weekend. Ever had that happen to you? Everything's flowing smoothly, things are feeling great, you're progressing in your lifts and your workouts, body's feeling great, and all of a sudden, injury happens. Maybe it's a more acute injury that stops you completely in your tracks, or maybe it's just something that's nagging as you work out. Not bad, but nagging at you. If that's ever the case, if that's ever happened for you, then today is your Monday Lunch Live. So my name is Ryan Sanders. I'm the owner of Project Fresh. This is our Monday Lunch Live that we do every Monday at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And for over the last 13 years, I've helped people take control of their health and fitness, optimizing performance, and building sustainable habits that stick. As a certified strength and conditioning specialist, as well as a certified sports nutrition coach, I take people through the stories, the systems, everything that is going to assist them with real world challenges like injuries in fitness and nutrition. And we're also very science backed as well. So here I share those strategies, those systems rather, that make long-term wellness possible. So as I mentioned, injury, which is one of the things that can turn into a hurdle for us, is not a matter of if, it's more a matter of when. I'm going to talk about three different hurdles today that are very common. The first one will be injuries, as I mentioned, and how to overcome them. So for the example of injury, usually injury can mean one of two things on average. Sometimes there's other things that play into it, but either it is a improper movement pattern that is causing the injury, meaning, let's say in a squat, you don't have the correct form in your squat, and that's causing trouble somewhere between the hips and the toes, somewhere in that kinetic chain. Maybe your low back too, depending on how you're doing your squats. So the movement patterns can be one, and then also you can be just doing simply too much overtraining, overuse, and that can cause an injury. So how to overcome it? You gotta change it up. You can't keep pushing through because oftentimes when you push through, you can make that injury worse or cause something that will last not just a day or two, but we're talking weeks or even months, depending on what you have injured. Top end, usually ACLs, rotator cuffs, and Achilles, all are at least 7 to 9 months. And I've had multiple clients go through those injuries, those tears, those corrective surgeries, and recovery periods, PT, the whole nine. That is something you don't want to do. So, how to overcome it? Dial it down. You can use your general Rice method to provide you with recovery. Ice, compression, elevation, R is for rest. And so you want to make sure that you do that. If you're in a very high volume training series, it's very important for you to dial down that volume, reduce the weight, reduce the reps, and allow your body to rest. It's very important to make sure that your nutrition is on point, your water is on point, particularly your protein, and anything else that might help you deal with the inflammation, depending on if you have any swelling or discoloration, depending on the severity of the pull or the tear or injury, if it's that severe in general. And then adequate rest, good sleep. So not just stretching, mobility exercises, joint stability based exercises like what we do, but you're also making sure that you're getting adequate sleep to allow the body to recover and heal as well. So that's how you overcome, specifically, how you overcome injury. Another hurdle that is very common for success is an excessively busy schedule. Now, it can be a number of things that can make you really busy. It could be your workload can pick up, things at work can change, family scenarios, dynamics. I've had two different emergency-based health-related issues within my family in the time that I've been working. This case will be over the last 8 years. Had two different scenarios that have taken me away from work and everything entirely. If that is the case where it's that severe, then obviously you just have to take the pause on your routine, on your exercise, on your nutrition, and go and obviously handle whatever it is you have to do. And then as things progress along and resolve, come back to it based on what you're allowed to do. If it's a scenario where you're in a caretaker role or have to do something else, or maybe you're unfortunately preparing for the worst, like it was for me the first time, then you just need to take that time to rest and recover. If you can, at least get out and walk and get some sunshine, some air in. I know the season's getting colder, but a brisk walk can really help, especially if it is more of a emotional and mental hard time. Getting outside, getting those walks in, if you have some close people in your corner who you can spend some time with, that social aspect can help too. But if it's just a little bit more low key, something that's only going to linger for a couple of days, I want you to know that getting right back into the programming that you have set is very important. Consistency is key. And although we have these hiccups as far as how things can get busy outside of our routines, important to jump right back in. Depending on how you're feeling, if you want to go back to the exercises you worked and fit those into days off, great. But if you're starting off, maybe it might be good to just go ahead and let those skip for now and just stick with the schedule. It depends on where you are and what you have going on. If you don't have a coach to assist you through these kind of things, we'd be great to have that discussion, a discovery call for 15 minutes to see where you are and see if what we provide would make sense for you. Or, there's many coaches out there that provide services to guide you through the steps you need to be successful. And part of that success is being consistent, especially when the hurdles come. So that being said, that's number two. When schedule explodes, that's a very common one. Injury was the first one. And then I think the third one that's very common is a hurdle of not knowing what to do. Let's say you found a program, you did it for 30 days. It really doesn't have much to offer as far as progressing or taking you anywhere else. I've seen some results. I feel that I'm plateauing. Plateauing is a very common experience and hurdle to overcome. It may not make sense, but if you continue to do the same things, your body's just going to get used to it. Sure, you can increase reps. Sure, you can reduce another 100, 200, 300 calories, but there's going to be a point where your body's just not going to progress. And it may even regress, meaning you start going a direction you don't want to go. Like I see oftentimes people increase their activities, drop their calories, and they lose weight. But what they don't realize is they're burning a lot of their muscle. And before they know it, they're skinny, but they're also not fit and toned. And they're also noticing that more aches and pains are happening. They're noticing that their balance might not be what it used to be. They're noticing that some of the other physical abilities aren't there like they used to be. And that's because that's a loss of muscle tissue, and that's the last thing that we want to lose. So whatever it might be in this case, as far as plateauing, as far as knowing what to do next, it is really important to make sure that whether you hire a coach or you research, you know how to go from that first phase, let's say those first 4 to 6 weeks, and be prepared, to move into the next 4 to 6 weeks. We call those cycles. I'm not going to get into the specifics, but we call them microcycles. And so as you go into the next cycle of training, where it's maybe changing up the way you train, changing up the loads, changing up the exercises, changing up the way that you're eating, changing up the way you fill in the blank, that you have that steady plan. So yeah, you can jump on ChatGPT and start asking it questions. But the thing about ChatGPT is that anybody can put a comment or a question in there and they get a response and they think they've had success. ChatGPT works in the context of, or Google works in the context of how specific your question is. The better the question, the better it's oriented towards what you're looking for, the better response you're going to get. So if you don't know how to get out of a plateau and what you're looking for, ChatGPT is going to give you what you give it, right? In response, what you put in is generally what you get out. Now, you'll get some good things and it might actually pull you out. I'm not saying don't use it. But again, I would highly recommend working with someone who knows exactly what to do in the next step. Or if you've been down this road before and you've had the programming before, go back to what you learned. Just remember that you already have done this and again, move through it. Now, another caveat is, let's say you're in a new season in your life. You're older. You've had a injury that's changed things up. You've had some kiddos. Just life has changed from before. Maybe you're not in your 20s or 30s anymore, as I said, getting older, whatever it might be. or maybe not even in your 40s or 50s anymore, depending on where you are in that season of life. Things have changed. You have to do things differently, but you still want to see success and progress, right? So, in that context, again, it's important to make sure that you're addressing it in the season that you're at based on your goals, based on what you need to do, based on the capacity you have, the time, the energy, the effort, the focus that you need to put into it. So in that context, again, how do you overcome it? You need to know what the next step is so that you don't stay in that plateau. Now, again, we're here, we're available. We do this all the time. We've worked with people as young as 8 all the way up into their 80s, with the general public as well as athletes, as I mentioned before. So we know what to do to get out of that hurdle and move forward. So that being said, we're wrapped up. I've got a session with the client here in 15 minutes, so I got to roll. But again, today's focus was on how to overcome hurdles. Specifically, those 3 hurdles are injury, time schedule blowing up, just like your schedule is so crazy outside of workouts that you're not able to get to it, how to get back to it. And then the very last one, number 3, when you plateau, you've gotten 4 to 6 weeks, solid, consistent, under your belt, at least 3 workouts, strength training a week. You're doing really well, sleeping well, and all of a sudden you're noticing those results are flatlining. What do I do? Those are 3 common hurdles that come up. And I've given you just a few different ideas and ways to do them here in these last 10 minutes or so. And so I want you guys to put this in your back pocket for that season when it comes. Again, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So this can be a great resource. And of course, as always, drop us a comment in the chat if you have some questions related to one of those 3 or a particular case, or if you'd like us to do a quick 15-minute discovery call, see where you're at, see if we can't push you in the right direction. And if something that we have as far as our resources are available. Right now, I'm not taking any private clients. Schedule is currently very, very busy, but we do have some other resources we can point you towards to assist you depending on what you're looking for. A lot of different resources available for you, depending on how you want to address it, versus movement and fitness or nutrition or just simply building habits. We've got a lot of different resources at our fingertips. So that being said, Ryan Sanders here, Project Fresh. This is our Monday Lunch Live. We do this every single Monday at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard. So that's 11 on the West Coast, 2 p.m. on the East Coast. And if you're in Alaska or Hawaii or Australia or the UK, or maybe even checking in from Africa, wherever you're checking in with us, just let us know. Drop us where you're watching from, and we look forward to seeing you here for our next video. All right, you guys, start off the week strong here.